Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to a bonus episode of the Three at the Back podcast, unlocking FPL success with stats, data, and expert analysis. We are 24 hours away from the Premier League kickoff, Liverpool-Bournemouth on Friday night. We, and myself, Scott, Paul, are going to be at FPL Fest from tomorrow. Very much looking forward to it, watching the game live. Boys, how are you doing?
Good. I'm just about recovered from our heavy metal festival that we were at over the weekend. Good times were had by all. Even Paul sort of slightly enjoyed himself.
Very much did.
Yeah, I've come down with a bit of heavy metal COVID, I think, but I'll be raring to go for Friday, mate. Don't worry.
Festival flu.
Yeah.
Nothing more. We don't want to be putting out into the world that you've got a contagious illness.
Not again, anyway.
Not again. Paolo, how did you find the head banging? Did you get on with it?
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. The weather was awesome. Got very, very sunburnt. Hopefully the bright light's just masking it, so I should be all right.
No. You're about the same colour as the top you're wearing.
Yeah, I enjoyed myself. Copious amounts of beer and cider consumed.
And cracking slushies, mate.
And cracking slushies. It was a very good weekend.
Have you checked your bank account?
That part of it I neglected.
Yeah, same here.
Fair enough.
Bad news all around.
Before we get going into this episode, so actually I should probably say this episode is purely dedicated to our final drafts, ready for the deadline tomorrow at 6:30. Hopefully you are watching this either live or before the deadline. So if you are watching this after 6:30 on Friday, you've missed the opportunity to copy our teams. I say our teams, copy Scott's team. Let's be honest.
Is this for disclosure? Is this the file? I'm not allowed to look at it or touch it from now on because that's going to be hard.
Okay. Well, yeah. Being that this is draft number 10,300.
This is the final draft. This is the final draft. So that if I do change it, I'll settle on that change, right?
All right. Fair enough. Okay. But
I'm not. Yeah. I'm not saying I will change it, but I can't help it.
Can we get at least a commitment from you that what we're about to show people will be at least 90% of what we'll have?
I think I've got 10 locks. It's just the finer detail now. Yeah.
Fair enough. So we'll get you to talk about that when we show your draft and whatnot. Before we get into that, I will encourage absolutely everybody, as we did last week, to come and join our mini league. The code is there up on the screen. And the auto join link will be in the description of the video, as it is in all of the videos across this series so far. So if you're not in the group already, if you're not in the mini league already, please do come and join us, take us on. And as we've previously explained in the videos or episodes previously, Scott had a pretty good season last year. He finished in the top 3,000. So a proper expert amongst us. So if you feel like you can do better, you can take him on, come and join us.
You boys are experts too, in your own way.
I've been flirting with an FPL handle, as you know. You've been begging us to take one on over the last 4 or 5 seasons.
Well, what I'll do, if you can't pick your own, I'll just put it in a WhatsApp group for them to pick one for you now. Yeah.
Well, I was going along the lines of like FPL meh or FPL mid or something like that. Like it's always in the middle of the global rank. And when there's 11 million people playing the game, that's not something to really be proud of, but we'll go with it. Yeah. So there's the code. Auto join link will be in the description. Come and join us. Have a bit of fun for the rest of the season. And yeah, let's get down into the reasons why we are here.
So I haven't seen Paul's team. Interesting to see it.
So we have got Petrovic in goal, De Kuyper, Milenkovic, Juve as a back three, Florian Wirtz, Cole Palmer, Bukayo Saka, Ismail Assar, and Tierney Reinders across the middle, with top two of captain Erling Haaland and Ollie Watkins. Bench is Dubravka, Esteve, Dorgu, and Guy. Your considerations for this draft, Scott, were finally getting Haaland in and playing the fixtures. City will be the forgotten men. That's interesting. I'll come back to you on that one.
Well, so I've absorbed loads of content in the last week, and I've seen very few drafts with Haaland in. Most have gone Salah if you're going top premium. And I just think if you look at the fixtures over the first 3-4, Cities are better. So I'm purely basing it just on that.
Nice. The Saka Palmer pivot, very like many routes to points. Obviously, Saka and Palmer both on penalties, although at Arsenal it's slightly a bit more contentious because obviously you've got Gyökeres and Odegaard there that take penalties too. But Saka's on corners and everything else as well. This is the first draft I think I've seen of yours. Iliman Ndiaye is not in it. Do you want to talk us through why you've eventually gone for Ismail Assar?
Two reasons. Ndiaye, the signings of Grealish and Dewsbury Hall potentially could take minutes off him. It would change the way Everton play, I think. Having Grealish slow him down a little bit, they'll retain the ball a bit more. I think Ndiaye is very good on the transition when it's quick. And getting Sarr in was purely the Community Shield game just highlighted to me just what an asset he is. He's a 90-minute man. He's direct. He's dangerous. His stats from last season were phenomenal. If you could add just a little bit more composure in front of goal, then he's a great asset. And I think our fixtures they look a bit ropey on paper, but I think from an attacking point, as we proved against Liverpool, we can score goals against anybody. So opening game against Chelsea, away from home suits us. We'll sit in, and Sarr will be perfect on the counter. Yeah,
you're absolutely right about those stats for Sarr from last season, by the way. I think I heard some content that Ismail Assar was, his XGA was second to Mo Salah all of the last season.
Yeah.
So if Palace had a finisher, they may have actually finished in 11th last year, not 12th.
Well, it's him. It's his finishing. He gets into some great positions, and he's a little bit rash. He likes to sort of absolutely lever the ball. His finish on Sunday was the calmest I think I've ever seen him. One-on-one with Alisson just knocks it to the side of him. It was a great finish. So
pretty sweet.
Yeah, very good. He's one of the players that I think is completely locked in my starting team.
Fair enough. And you said as well that you were probably like you've got 10 locks and one of them is probably a little bit you're not too sure of, and I see there that Reinders is not 100% nailed. Just talk us through that a little bit. Well,
so he is a player that I've thought about a lot since they signed him. I really rate him. Paul likes him too. He was fantastic last season at Milan. Very involved in the top end of the pitch. Rodri is carrying a knock, likely going to miss a couple of games. Kovacic is also out, so Reinders' minutes are secure for the early part. Whether he plays in the 6 because of that or in the 8 doesn't really matter. He'll pick up defensive points, but he so wants to get forward. And at 5.5 mil, I think it's a toss-up between him and Anderson from Forest. And I just thought, well, I want to play the upside. I don't want to be celebrating Anderson blocking tackles and fouling people and whatever. I want to celebrate a pass for a goal or getting in the box for a shot, which Anderson's not gonna do. So I want to play the game in sort of like the positive style. So I decided to go for Reinders over Anderson. Although Anderson probably will tick over, probably in the longer run, score more points.
I think Reinders is a great choice. He's been ever present all through Club World Cup and some of the preseason fixtures. He scored 2 in their last preseason fixture, and I think he's almost nailed. He has Gundogan vibes all over him, and I think that's what they've been missing solely is someone to break that box and also have the legs to be able to cover ground to support whoever's going to be the holding player within the team. So I think I think he's a shoo-in for me, certainly for the first 5 or 6 game weeks. See how
I think when Rodri returns,
evolves.
When Rodri returns, he could share minutes with maybe Bernardo Silva in that role. But I think all the time Rodri's out, then they need him there. He will play the first few games. And I haven't quite worked out a wildcard week yet, but it will be reasonably early, probably around about sort of 6 or 7. I think is like when I've earmarked. There's a bit of upturn in the Arsenal fixtures and Liverpool's fixtures turn around about that time. So he'll be good for the first 4 or 5 weeks for sure.
Nice. It's interesting as well to see that the DEFCON points edition this year is already kind of there's separatism between playing it traditionally, the purist way, and but I'm sure there will be moments where we're in the pubs and clubs watching games and there's a last ditch tackle by Elliot Anderson and there'll be a bit of a cheer go up, I'm sure, because his ownership is actually quite high across the game at the moment.
I don't know about a James Tarkowski bullet header into Rose Ed. I mean, I'm not celebrating that. I want to see goals. We all want to see goals, don't we? I don't want to be picking players that are just going to tick along because ultimately they're not going to be in your team for long enough, really, are they? Because you're going to make transfers and you got wild cards, you got free hits to use and things. So I think these players will tick along points wise, but if they're in your team or not, I'm not convinced.
Fair enough. Nice. Okay. Some players on your bench there that you want to take us through. I'm guessing obviously like Dubravka's £4 million potentially starting goalkeeper. Guy's a £4.5 million potentially starting striker. And I think Dorgu and Esteve kind of speak for themselves as well. Dorgu specifically had a blind of a pre-season.
Well, he has. He's come into that United side now that he's playing that wing back role. Looks very good. Sometimes in the build up, he's the furthest forward. He also rotates very nicely with Juve. If you look at the fixtures, so this week Juve's got Sunderland. Next week West Ham play Chelsea, and Dorgu plays Fulham, for example. So they rotate quite nicely.
It's good. Cool.
And Steve, I've called him.
Steve.
Yeah,
I've heard Electric Steve as well.
Electric Steve, yeah. He'll come in next week to play Sunderland, and you can drop the Kuiper down. So although they're cheap defenders, they rotate with each other, and I got a sneaky feeling that the 4.5s are going to score as many points as the 6 mil defenders. That's my gut feeling on this. Looking to defensive points, so all your money goes into attacking 7 or 8 players instead.
I'm certainly in the same camp. Looking at the amount of options and of the 4.5s, and there's so many starters in there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, for teams that are very valuable for defensive contributions. So I think that could be the way forward for the DC points is to get those £4.5 million defenders in for sure.
Yeah. The only problem with that is you haven't got that price point in there, which does concern me a little bit.
If you want to upgrade, yeah. So if you've got that 6 mil starting defender, you can move to anyone in that back line. If you start without, it's 2 transfers to get them in. So, if Gabriel or Van Dijk look like they're going to be munching the DEFCON points for fun, then it's 2 transfers to get them in. So that's my only sort of drawback with setting up without.
Yeah, I think I'll have a look at my draft shortly, but a vast majority of the selections that I've got are in and around that 5.5 price mark, probably for that reason. I feel like there are going to be definitely times where I probably will want to take someone like a Milenkovic out, try and find the extra $500,000 to bring someone like Gabriel or Van Dijk or Ait-Nouri into the fold somehow. I didn't want to be too far away from them. But yeah, we'll get into that in a bit. Paul, let's have a look at your draft. So we've got Kelleher in goal, Van der Ven, Milenkovic, De Kuiper, and Malik Diouf as a back four. Captain Salah, Palmer, Tierney Reinders, Bukayo Saka across the middle. And a heavyweight top 2 with Vic G and Watkins up top. Benches, Petrovic, Guy, Papsar, and Hartman. yeah, just talk us through some of the selections there that maybe Scott hasn't covered. For example, you've gone with Gyökeres over Haaland, and obviously there you've got Salah in the midfield. And I think Hartman and Papsar as well popping into your team as well as some cheaper options.
Defensively wise, I've pretty much stayed the same. The only difference is I've got rid of my premium defender in Gabriel and downgraded to Hartman. The main reason here is that I felt like I was missing a trick by not having Saka in. Although the fixtures don't look to be great, the FPL community seems to be a bit up and down, a bit mixed on whether to have Saka in. For me, the Saka and Salah debate, they're almost guaranteed to return at least every other game. I like that reliability. I think, especially to start the season, to try and get some points on the board. So I think that's kind of why I've gone for those two as really important selections within my team. Gyökeres, again, similar. The link-up play early on looks pretty solid. And I think again, I don't think people will be. I think it'd be hard to get him in if he does start popping off. So I think that's another reason. And then obviously because I've gone quite heavy with regard to some of my premium picks. I've had to downgrade my bench. Is my favourite £5 million midfielder, almost guaranteed starter. He's got 3 returns in pre-season. Looks very lively, and he's played the most minutes with any Tottenham player within pre-season. So I think he's looks to be a starter under Thomas Frank for sure. The other one I guess I'd like to call out is Watkins. I think he's going to be in a lot of people's teams, but actually I've seen his selection be quite low, to be honest, which has been
around 20%.
Yeah, it's quite surprising. So 5 goals and 1 assist in pre-season, which is great. But one thing I found a stat: he's one of 2 players to rack up 50 plus goals and 25 plus assists in the last 3 seasons. Only other player to do that is Big Mo.
Wow,
that's in the top 5 leagues in Europe. So
that's a crazy stat.
So then someone who's very consistent.
Yeah.
Which, for me, I've not put too many new signings in there, purely because again I like to feel out how the Premier League season is going to start. You can get slightly lost behind the curve, if Vert starts flying off the handle and stuff. But I think I'm fairly happy with my squad. Most of the players I've picked here are I think all of them will be starters for their clubs. So
for sure, I think that's key, isn't it, Paul? When you first build a draft for game week 1, I think key is to pick certain 90-minute men or certain starters, almost picking a template side, and then sussing out as you move along the information we received in the first couple of weeks. Because in game week 1 is the week we have the least amount of information, right? So to go tried and tested is probably quite safe.
I think the difficulty is that obviously you've only got pre-season to gauge your opinion on some of these things, especially with things regards to new signings, and it can be quite hard to read. The level of opposition, for example, or the amount of rotation that are in these friendlies. It's hard for these players to get momentum. So that's kind of why I've gone for a fair few tried and tested.
And are you obviously being our resident Arsenal nut job?
Yeah.
Are you certain that Gyökeres is thrown straight in?
I wasn't until the weekend, but the fact that he started, that looked to me like the starting 11.
Mm-hmm.
The way we started, obviously he didn't play the full game, which I don't expect him to play the full game against Man United. If he does start, I think it would be a 65-70 minute type of appearance. But I think, with regards to there's so much hype and excitement around him in the Arsenal camp that I struggle to see that he won't start.
Yeah, and him and Saka, like we discussed off air, they're going to link, aren't they? I mean, they're both intelligent players. I mean, I can see that partnership being phenomenal. And I think to start with them, when lots of ignoring Arsenal players to start with, I think is a very shrewd move.
Yeah. Again, the one thing the player I guess I'd call out for anyone who's really needs someone cheap is Zubimendi. It can't be ignored how invaluable he looks to be moving us forward. He's so forward thinking and such a clever footballer. He got an assist, obviously, for Gyökeres's goal, which again, I don't expect him to get assists every week. But again, DEFCON points, if you need that budget, is 5.5. Obviously, I've got Reinders here, so there is an argument for other options, but it's definitely worth a look at for sure.
And in the pre-season, how was Zubimendi's introduction affected Rice in particular?
If anything, I think they play off each other very well. I think because Zubimendi is such an intelligent footballer, he seems to be drifting into space very well. And I think Rice is complementing him by either dropping back when required or again spreading the field for Zubimendi to split with his passes. Again, I've seen a lot of long balls, a lot of cross-field balls from Zubimendi during pre-season. I think that's what he's definitely been brought in to do, is get us forward quicker.
So I think the feeling was that with Zubimendi coming in, it pushed Rice further forward a bit. I mean, has that been happening or not really?
It has been. It has been. I think it's probably going to take a bit of time, really, for it to you will see the full effect of that Zubimendi and Rice partnership. That's probably one of the main reasons why I've moved away from Rice within my team, because I think it might take a little bit of work for him to start seeing the best of him with regards to that number 8 role.
I always think Rice reminds me very much of Frank Lampard. He's got all the sort of attributes that Lampard had, apart from that eye for goal that Lampard had, like drifting in.
Yeah,
I can see if Rice is given license to do that, then he could and should, I guess, start scoring more goals.
I definitely think that must be part of the strategy. And I think it's the fact that I think Zubimendi will make us more unpredictable, if you like, and hopefully make us a threat across the board, which then, hopefully will open up more space for other players to step into the limelight and put the ball in the back of the net.
Any Arsenal players you won't recommend?
The one thing I would probably avoid to start the season is the left back position. Although I'm pretty sweet on Miles Skelly, again, Calafiori's had a few pretty strong cameos.
Mm-hmm.
So, I feel there might be a slight risk of rotation within the two of them.
There was a period of time at the back end of the season though where Calafiori was almost playing a left wing role ahead of Lewis Skelly as well. Is that a possibility? Because I feel like the left wing position isn't something that Arsenal have been managed to solve in the transfer window.
I don't see them playing. I don't see them playing one in front of the other.
Okay.
I think more likely is that Miles Skelly might have more minutes in the centre of the park through the season if Calafiori starts to nail down that left back role. But I have every faith in Miles Skelly to compete.
Nice. Right. Finally, moving on to
best or last.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that.
We'll rattle through this. Don't worry. Nothing to talk about.
And so I've gone with Matt Sells in goal, Reece James, Milenkovic, Tarkowski, Van de Ven as the back four, Florian Wirtz as captain, Palmer, Saka, Ismail Assar across the middle, Ekitike and Gyökeres up top. My bench is Dubravka, De Kuyper, Johnson and Guy, and I have got bench boost active for game week 1. Double Forest defence for me against a Brentford side that has lost a number of their top assets with regards to attacking returns. Visser looks like it's he's pretty much on the way out. Whether or not that happens before the weekend or whether or not he takes part in game week 1 is still to be seen. But obviously, yeah, the loss of Mbeumo has blunted Brentford's attacking return somewhat.
Sharda's out injured too, I do believe.
Sharda's out injured. Yeah. There's been a lot of talk that like Thiago is going to like step up and replace Mbeumo goals like straight away, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, won't we?
He was brought in for big money at the start of last season. Obviously got a bad injury, so we haven't seen anything of him really, but he has played all pre-season and he has scored a couple of goals.
Yeah.
So he was... that was where the Tony money went,
That's
wasn't
right.
it?
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
He's a record signing.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So look, it'd be interesting to see like what happens with him. Obviously, this will be his first full proper season. Hopefully, he gets to stay injury free, and we'll see what happens with Brentford. But we've spoken extensively over the last couple of episodes. We think Brentford are in quite a bit of trouble, and then for me, it just makes sense that having doubling up on one of the strongest defenses over the last 2 seasons as well. In that situation makes sense for me.
Yeah, I think Matt Sells is probably the best keeper in the game. I think.
Sure. Yeah. 4 clean sheets in pre-season can't be sniffed. That.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5.5 million as well. So 5 million. So he's cheaper than the likes of Edison, Allison, Raya. But you're getting probably just as much out of them. Tarkowski. Bullet headers into Rosette, I think you said, Scott.
Yep.
Take it all day long.
Take 10 of them, mate. He's got yourself 2 points.
Yep.
Celebrating every single time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because the only thing I'd point out with Everton in general is they've really struggled in pre-season. I think they
looked very slow, weren't they?
From memory, so yeah, just be worth keeping an eye on. Like again, defensive points. I think Tarkowski's in for a shoeing, but just a cautionary tale to be able to.
No, you're absolutely right. I think, but the only thing that kind of gives me a little bit of hope in that sense is that David Moyes' teams have always been quite defensively astute, and actually, it's quite surprising to see the performance through pre-season where they've conceded quite a few goals.
This is what I hinted at with the in Dye change for me. I've seen them twice in pre-season, and they're trying to play a more expansive game. I think they need to, because you can't win anything by playing negative, which is why they've gone out and got Grealish, got Dewsbury Hall, so they want to play a bit more on the front foot, which obviously then makes you a bit vulnerable because you're opening space up. And I think that's what you're seeing is a team that are sort of in a little bit of transition stylistically, and they've just been sort of worked out a bit because they're not quite gelling in that sort of formation. If it was the Everton of last season where they just dug in and sat, Tarkowski would be one of the best picks in the game. Probably still will be, as long as you hold on to him for a number of weeks. And obviously it's a very nice opening game against a newly promoted side for your bench boost.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like what I've got in mind is that the game week 1, and not to say that I've built my whole team around game week 1 bench boost, because a lot of these guys have got pretty favourable fixtures across the first sort of 5 or 6 game weeks, and very much like yourself, Scott, I was thinking about wild carding around about game week 6 just to get that turn in fixtures. That being said, I have got double Arsenal in there where their first 5 fixtures are probably not as favourable. But also I believe that if Arsenal are going to perform this year, they're going to have to go through those games and get something out of them. And I really see that Saka Gyökeres pivot is gonna cover off a large proportion of those attacking returns. I think I've seen somewhere like as much as 70% of Arsenal's attacking returns are going to come through those 2 players, whether it be assists, penalties, open play goals, whatever. Wirtz and Ekitike pivot, similar to basically cover off as much of the attacking returns that Liverpool will have to offer. Obviously, I'm going with a no Salah, no Haaland draft here as well. So Wirtz and Ekitike for me as a combo is trying to cover off as much of Salah's contribution as much as possible. So in the hope that a Salah assist will end up with Ekitike putting it in the back of the net. Wirtz has got goal scoring prowess in him as well, and obviously assists hopefully again will be finished off by Ekitike. He looked really lively in the Charity Shield as well, like not just as a out and out number 9, but he was dropping in deep and linking up play as well. Lovely little kind of flick off the back heel that set Liverpool off and running for I think it was their first goal.
Yeah, I saw them play. Who was it? They played the game before the last warm up game, and he skinned the defender for fun and cut it back for Salah to finish it. And I thought then, I hadn't really seen a lot of him, but he's got size, isn't he? He's probably well over sort of 6'3", quick. I didn't think he was that quick, but so quick. And the finishing against Palace was fantastic.
It was, yeah. So I'm excited about him as a player.
Again, my only wariness is if they do get Isak, whether his minutes get minimised in the coming weeks.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think if that Isak deal does go through, I think Ekitike can. But the brilliant thing about his price point,
he can play out wide as well. So I think that's a possibility.
That's true.
It may not even affect him, but it's just worth thinking about.
Absolutely, it's true. But what I like about the Ekitike price point as well, though, is that at 8.5, he downgrades into so many different options. There's João Pedro, Dominic Solanke, Chris Wood, Evan Nilsson, there's just Jared Bowen. There's so many different options that I can downgrade him into.
Nice to hear you mention that, Dan. You actually thought about it for a change. It's nice to hear that.
I did.
No shade.
You got Brennan Johnson there.
I've got Brennan Johnson there, Spurs' top scorer from last season.
Yeah, so if this was my team and I was looking to gain some more money, Johnson would be the one I would swap. He's 7 million in the game.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, yeah. Agreed.
You could drop him down to Reinders, say 5.5, and that frees you up 1.5 to split between Gueye, again, who's not a certain starter for game week 1, and Dubravka. Right. And then you've got a really strong looking bench then, guaranteed starters, which is what you want. Yeah,
agreed. Actually, I was just thinking when Paul was taking us through his draft there, like perhaps Sarr, I can drop Johnson down to Sarr, get myself.
Or even Reece James. How much is Reece James in the game? I've not seen him in any team.
5 million, I think.
Is there not better value and guaranteed? He might be guaranteed to start, but he's never guaranteed to get past the first 10 minutes.
It's true. But do you know what? I think we've had this conversation about Reece James before, right? That with his injury record, as bad as it is, what I like, it's not something that I have a hard time understanding. It's actually a massive credit to Reece James that successive managers have come into that Chelsea setup, and as soon as he's fit and ready to play, he's in the team. So if he's fit, he starts, and I think there's definitely a chance for him to have an impact, particularly against.
Has he played any pre-season? Because the Chelsea lineups I've seen, they've played Gusto at right back, quite a lot.
I can't say that I follow Drogba United as closely as my cousin. I'll have to get him.
Well,
get the inside track.
You're looking to put James in your game week 1 bench boost. Maybe you should have followed Chelsea a little closer.
Listen, look, there's a reason why I finished 3 million in the global rank and you finished in 3,000. All right. I appreciate the advice. It is something I will consider. This draft might actually get torn apart in the next couple of minutes after this recording.
It's a shame because Reece James is, I think, England's maybe best right back.
Top right.
Yeah, quality player. But I think he's discovered that he can't play that wing back role anymore. His body just won't hold up to the rigors of it. So he's probably more than likely to be on the right side of a 3, which probably makes him a non-asset for me. Because if you take out his attacking prowess, you're banking on Chelsea defence, which I'm not particularly sweet on. They've lost Colwell for the season now. I think they'll be quite vulnerable at the back. They're playing Palace game week 1. Sarr will score, yeah. I don't know. I think the Reece James one is a bold move, but for a game week 1,
risky,
very risky, yeah. Which we said is probably what you want to avoid.
Fair enough. I think that I'm open. I'm open to suggestions. I think what this series will do throughout the year will just be me throwing out absolutely wild picks and you going, nonsense, what are you doing?
It's the same every year.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that the three of us have got different setups. Paul's gone with a Salah midfield. I've gone with Haaland up top, and you've gone with neither, which is we haven't got together and discussed what we're doing. Just shows the diversity of the game and the way it's been structured and priced and the new rules.
I love this though. I love this.
Fantastic, yeah, absolutely.
Because what you said,
for sure.
What you said as well about like the breadth of options at 4.5 million for the defense, like that realistically is the only way that you could have Salah and Haaland in together is by having that run of defenders at that lowest price point. And it's just really nice actually that there is a bunch of starters in and around that price point.
Well, because seasons goes by, you would be picking Tarkowski,
no,
Van der Ven. They'd be nowhere near the conversation. And now they're top of the tree for their price points in those roles. So the new rule changes, I know that they haven't been seen to be in action yet, and it may turn out to be a complete load of rubbish. But for the time being, it's conversational and it's opened up the player pool hugely, which is I think what we've all been sort of crying out for the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, definitely. I think the fact that across the three of us, there isn't like a real template team, so to speak. I mean, in terms of like the attacking options, yes, we've all gone for fairly similar selections. Obviously, both me and Paul have got Saka and Gyökeres. All three of us have got Sarr and Palmer. But outside of that, like there's teams out there that have both Haaland and Salah as the fourth option. Like there are four realistic ways of setting up your and balancing your team. So it's quite nice. I
started my very first draft. I went with a Haaland draft. Just something said to me he'd be the player this season, and I've made 50 drafts in that time, and I'll come back to that. I just think that Haaland will be the guy, and I think if you look at a lot of drafts, they're Cityless because it's hard to name a City player. But Haaland is the 90-minute game in, game out, isn't he? I mean, if you're going to build a team around a premium, I think he's the one to go without Haaland. I think it's quite dangerous this year because I think City will be far better than they were last year. And with the quality they bought to help him, there's no KDB, but his injury record last season, he was very in and out. We mentioned Reinders, you got Cherky, you got Savinho, Silva, Foden, Marmoush, all supplying ammunition for Haaland. I think he's going to be pushing 30 goals maybe this season.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. I mean, look, it wouldn't be beyond his capabilities to do that. Of course it wouldn't. I think I was a bit burnt last year by his spotty form.
Mm-hmm. But that was City's form, I think.
It was. You're absolutely right. It was. I think that the only thing that worries me, particularly in the opening few weeks, and I know it's going to be really difficult for me to kind of get him in as and when I would like to, which is why I'm kind of considering an early wild card. The only thing that concerns me is what you said about like Rodri probably not being available for those first couple of game weeks, and that's pretty much what the catalyst for City's form being so atrocious last year. I know that they've bought well, and Reinders is potentially the answer to that, or cover for Rodri in many senses. It's a player that they could have definitely done with last year. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We wanted to keep this episode quite tight and sweet, so we will wrap it up here. You've seen our 3 drafts. What are your thoughts? Who have you got? Who's your man that you are backing this season? Who's your game week 1 captain? Let us know down in the comments. And yeah, get it in and sorted before 6:30 p.m. tomorrow. And if you're at FPL Fest as well, come and say hi. Let's have a chat.
You won't get much out of us, mind you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, those two maybe not. I'll try and be designated driver for the evening.
Darren's going to be working the room whilst me and Paul work the bar.
Exactly.
Facts.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining me for this bonus episode. 2 episodes in a week. Look at us go. It's almost like we're proper content creators. I will catch you at Waterloo Station Friday afternoon. I will see you there.
See you
Cheers,
later.
boys. Bye.